Hello friends, today we are going to learn about Elizabethan age. The time span of the Elizabethan age is 1550 to 1603. This topic is included in the TYBA syllabus. Paper 4, Unit number 1. Paper name is 16th to 18th century English literature. In this paper, this topic is included. So what is Elizabethan age? Elizabethan age is named after the reign of the last Tudor monarch of England, Queen Elizabeth I, who ruled from 1558 to 1603. So what is happened during this Elizabethan period? Various changes occur in this Elizabethan age. Most important change occur in this Elizabethan age is in literature or in poetry, drama, all these things. We should know about Queen Elizabeth first. Queen Elizabeth I is was born in 7 September 1533 to 24th March 1603, was Queen of England and Ireland. Elizabeth was the last of the 5 monarchs of the House of Tudor. Tudor is a dynasty from which Queen Elizabeth belonged. In this Tudor dynasty, there was various kings and queens ruled over the England. Elizabeth was the daughter of Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn, her mother. Henry VIII was the King of England. The period is famous for flourishing of English drama, led by playwrights such as William Shakespeare and Christopher Marlowe. Various playwrights were during this Elizabethan age. We can see that there were William Shakespeare, Christopher Marlowe, Ben Jonson, and there were university wits also. In the last period we saw university wits. There were Thomas Cade, Thomas Nash, Green, Robert Peel were there, Christopher Marlowe. These all are the playwrights. And various poets were there in Queen Elizabeth's reign. The reign of Queen Elizabeth I was also a turbulent period, but she successfully coped with the difficulties. England was threatened by the superpower of the age, France and Spain. In those days, France and Spain were the superpower. So there were various kind of threats to the England because of warfare. So this is Queen Elizabeth I. In this Queen Elizabethan age, we include the Jacobean period also. Uh, After the Queen Elizabeth, there were Jacobean period started. King James were there in the Jacobean period. From 1603 to 1625 is the ruling period of Jacobean King Jacob. But in the Elizabethan period, this reign is generally considered to be one of the most glorious and golden period in England's history, because there were various kind of changes in literature, in drama, in poetry, and in science also. The scientific findings were started during the Queen Elizabeth period. If we see the Elizabethan literature, the English literary renaissance consists of 4 subsets: the Elizabethan age, the Jacobean age, the Carolean age, and the Commonwealth period. This is the 4 subsets of the English literary renaissance. The English literature, English language, the writings in the English language is flourish during all these 4 periods: the Elizabethan age, the Jacobean age, the Caroline age, and the Commonwealth period. But in the Elizabethan age, there is the drama. English drama was dominant. The Elizabethan era saw a great flourishing of literature, especially in the field of drama. The other major literary styles was lyric poetry. Many of the most important dramatists of the period were also excellent poets. Okay, we can say that Ben Jonson, William Shakespeare, then John Donne also is very excellent poets. So the poetry is also another genre in Elizabethan age. Lyric poetry, sonnets were the dominant in Elizabethan literature. Earl of Surrey and Thomas Watt were the finders of the sonnets and lyric poetry also. These poets studied the Italian sonnet and took that sonnet in the English literature. This is literature written approximately during the time of Queen Elizabeth. So we call it as Elizabethan literature or the age of Elizabeth. So what is the condition of the poetry? The most important poets include Edmund Spenser, the author of the Fairy Queen, Walter Raleigh, and William Shakespeare. These are the most important poets. Drama is the greatest form written during the Elizabethan age. William Shakespeare is considered one of the greatest playwrights of all times. His best work include Hamlet, King Lear, Macbeth, Othello, Merchant of Venice, and other important dramatists include Christopher Marlowe and Ben Jonson. These are the dramatists during Elizabethan literature. Shakespeare holds the number one position in Elizabethan age. Shakespeare wrote Hamlet, King Lear, Macbeth, Merchant of Venice, Othello, and other poetry, other poems also written by William Shakespeare. He has written various kind of sonnets. Genres of English Renaissance theatre. So, what kind of drama is written in Renaissance theatre? Renaissance means new beginning, Renaissance. The drama is a genre, is also written in ancient period also. But the flourishment of the English drama is only during the Elizabethan period. So, in Elizabethan period, there were history plays. Marlowe and Shakespeare wrote history plays. History play is based on the historical event, like war in between two countries, or the life of king and queens, like Henry V, Henry VIII. These are all the historical plays. Then tragedy. Mainly the revenge tragedy is flourished during the Elizabethan period. Thomas Kidd, Christopher Marlowe, William Shakespeare wrote this kind of tragedy. Revenge tragedy we can call is as a bloodshed tragedy or a black tragedy, because it shows the very effective climax in the drama, and it includes bloodshed, like event like murder, witchcraft also. We can see the ghost in the drama, bloodshed, revenge, murder. All these are included in the revenge tragedy. Then there is a comedy, city comedy, written by Ben Jonson, and various comical plays written by William Shakespeare also, like Measure for Measure. So, the comedy is also a genre written during this period. Then romance. Romance is written by William Shakespeare. So this is a picture of William Shakespeare. He is holding a skull in his hand. Maybe this is the event in the play tragedy Hamlet. Which were the Elizabethan playwrights and authors? There is various playwrights and authors like Christopher Marlowe, Francis Beaumont, and John Fletcher, These are the two brothers who wrote various kind of drama. Thomas Middleton is also a famous playwright during this period. Thomas Kyd is known for his the Spanish tragedy. William Shakespeare during this period is a very dominant playwright. Then Ben Jonson is also a dominant playwright in this period. These are the famous names of some Elizabethan playwrights and authors. Various playwrights also were there, like Robert Greene, Thomas Nash. These are the other playwrights: Thomas Nash, Thomas Lodge, Robert Greene, Thomas Kyd, Christopher Marlowe. In this Elizabethan period, there were influential astronomers were there, because there were beginning of the scientific findings also. So there were Tycho Brahe. Scientific background, we are seeing the scientific background of Elizabethan period. This period is witnessed scientific discoveries in the field of medicine, astronomy, cartography, and land surveying. So science was flourishing in this period. The influential astronomers were there, like Tycho Brahe. Tycho Brahe was a Danish astronomer during this period. Then Johannes Kepler. Kepler was a German astronomer and was the first fully explained motion of the planets of our solar system in this period. Then there is a Galileo Galilei during this period. 1564 to 1642 is the time span of Galileo Galilei. Considered the father of modern science. Galileo Galilei is considered as a father of modern science. Galileo Galilei made major contributions to the field of physics, astronomy, cosmology, mathematics, and philosophy. Galileo did not invent the telescope. Generally, we say that Galileo invented the telescope, but the main thing is there, Galileo did not invent the telescope, but Galileo improved the telescope. Improvement of the telescope is done by Galileo. So who invent the telescope? Jensen, Jarius Jensen and Lippershey was invent the telescope. So we are talking about the drama is a prominent genre in Elizabethan period. These playwrights wrote plays that were patterned on numerous Greek tragedy. Seneca's plays were influential on the tragedies during the Elizabethan age. Seneca is a Greek tragedian who wrote various tragedies. These playwrights studied the Seneca's plays and took those The characteristics of the tragedy in the English tragedy. Attic drama, English miracle plays, morality plays, and interlude. These are the uh, types of drama. Okay, miracle plays, morality plays, and interludes are the types of drama. Elizabethan tragedy dealt with the heroic themes. Okay, there were heroic themes in the Elizabethan tragedy, usually centering on a great personality who is destroyed by his own passion and ambition. For example, in the story of Macbeth, Macbeth having great passion and ambition in his own. So, at the end of the play, the Macbeth were destroyed by his own ambition and passion. He died at the end of the play. His wife, Queen Macbeth, is also died in the end of the play. In the Hamlet, King Hamlet died in the very beginning of the play, but the Prince Hamlet wanted to take revenge of his father's murder. So he has passion, he has ambition of taking the revenge of the father's murder. But at the end of the play, all the characters, including Prince Hamlet, died at the end. So these are the characteristics of the tragedy. The comedies often satirize the fops and gallants of the society. Thomas Dekker, Thomas Haywood, Ben Jonson, John Lilly, John Webster, these are the uh, comedy writers and tragedy writers of the Elizabethan period. Basically, Ben Jonson wrote a various kind of comedies in his writings. These are all representative authors of Elizabethan age. Representative works of the Elizabethan age. What are the representative works? Various playwrights wrote various kind of drama. So these are the representative works of Elizabethan age. The Duchess of Malfi. It is a tragedy written by John Webster. First performed at the Globe Theatre in London, 1614. The play is based on a true story which took place around 1508. Theatre also flourished during the Elizabethan period. I said that here, Globe Theatre, like Globe Theatre, Swan Theatre, these kind of big theatres developed during the Elizabethan period. Every Man in His Humor. Ben Jonson wrote Every Man in His Humor was first produced in 1598 by Shakespeare's company. Shakespeare also had his own theatre, Shakespearean theatre. It is Jonson's first important play and is also first play to be labeled a comedy of humors. Hamlet is a representative work of Elizabethan drama. Perhaps Shakespeare's most loved play, Hamlet, was first produced around 1600. Hamlet is a revenge tragedy that tells the story of melancholy of Prince of Denmark, who vowed to avenge his father's murder by killing his uncle, the king. It was well received by Elizabethan audience, who were probably already somewhat familiar with the story. Hamlet has been the subject of much discussion and literary criticism, and is still considered by many to be the finest of Shakespeare's play. A very deep study uh, was did in the study of Hamlet, the case of Hamlet, and various kind of psychologists studied the Hamlet and developed their own theory of psychology. The Jew of Malta. This is first produced in 1592 by Christopher Marlowe. Though it is prescribed on title page of the 1633 edition as a tragedy, but it is really a dark satirical comedy. The Jew of Malta. It is also a drama by Christopher Marlowe. The Shoemaker's Holiday. It is also a drama. Thomas Dekker has written this drama. The Shoemaker's Holiday is based on 3 tales about shoemakers from Thomas Delaunay's The Gentle Craft. This delightful domestic comedy depicts the pleasant and simple lives of apprentice and tradesmen. So this is the comedy. Elizabethan audience were delighted by the depiction of the everyday lives of contemporary London citizen. The Spanish tragedy. I said the Spanish tragedy is written by Thomas Kidd. This is wildly successful and propelled Kidd to fame. The story concerns a father's desire to avenge his son's death. The innovation of this kind of drama sparked an entirely a new genre in English that came to be known as blood tragedy. Okay, if the tragedy contains a bloodshed, murder, then it is called as a blood tragedy. Tamerlane the Great. This is the play by Christopher Marlowe. This play was successful. The story is based upon the career of Mongolian conqueror Timur the Lame, or simply called as Tamerlane, who overthrew the Turkish Empire in 1402. If the drama is containing some kind of history, then it is called as a historical play. The Woman in the Moon. This is also a play by John Lilly. The subject matter is of Greek mythology. This would have appealed to a fashionable interest in astronomy and astrology. This play is about the first human woman named Pandora. According to Greek mythology, she is gifted with the best attributes of each of the 7 planets of major deities. God has given her all those things, which makes them jealous. The gods each take a turn exerting their powers to make her unhappy until Pandora is forced to flee Earth. She chooses to live on the moon, the realm of goddess Luna. Next is A Woman Killed with Kindness. This play is written by Thomas Heywood and was first produced in 1603. The play is dealt with contemporary English life, and this is one of the finest example of domestic tragedy. In English drama, this is considered Heywood's masterpiece due to his skillful handling of the story that has unique twist. A Woman Killed with Kindness. Now we will say about the poets. Edmund Spenser, 1552 to 1599 is the time span of Edmund Spenser. Edmund Spenser was an English poet best known for The Fairy Queen, an epic poem. Epic poem is a long poem which can be sung, and fantastical allegory celebrating the Tudor dynasty and Elizabeth I. This poem is written on the subject of Queen Elizabeth I. Edmund Spenser is recognized as one of the premier craftsmen of nascent modern English verse and also considered as one of the greatest poets in the English language. What kind of works done by Spenser? The Shepherd's Calendar, 1579, published under the pseudonym of Immerito. So this is the collection of poems. The Fairy Queen, this is also collection of poems. Amoretti, Epithalamion, Prothalamion, and many other poems written by Edmund Spenser during the age of Elizabeth. William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare is called England's national poet, which is called as Bard of Avon. William Shakespeare was poet, playwright, actor, dramatist. In his life, he wrote 39 plays, 154 sonnets, and 2 long narrative poems, and few other verses he has written. His plays have been translated into major languages and performed more often than any other playwright. He is a famous playwright during Elizabethan period. Which are the works of Elizabethan William Shakespeare? He has written comedy like All's Well That Ends Well, As You Like It, Comedy of Error, Major for Majors, Midsummer Night's Dream, Taming of the Shrew, Much Ado About Nothing, Twelfth Night, Merchant of Venice. These are all comedies written by William Shakespeare. Now the tragedies. Julius Caesar, Hamlet, Macbeth, Othello, Romeo and Juliet, King Lear. These are all tragedies written by William Shakespeare. This is the scene of the Hamlet. The one person is holding a skull in his hand. They are all grave diggers, and Prince Hamlet is also present in the picture. Works by William Shakespeare, historical plays. He has written King Henry V, King John, Richard II, Richard III. These are the some historical plays. Thank you. We know about the Elizabethan theatre. Thank you.